quack. I'm podcasted out, by the way. Well, you thought wrong.
Okay, well. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 2 of our podcast, Ministry Mike, our campus ministry podcast on Cardinal Newman campus. Today, we're going to be hosting Miss Rodnick, a little get to know for her. So, why don't you go ahead and start us off, man? Johnny. Okay. So, thinking back to our last episode, Mrs. Rodnick, how do you feel about the fact that Father Girollo said that you weren't his favorite freshman theology teacher?
This might be a little too soon for that question, but I am going to just go with thankful. In that, let me finish. I feel very thankful that I got to teach Father Girollo, and I'm very thankful that he's a part of our community. And I too was really grateful to be amongst teachers like Father Gary and Father Sean and many other priests at St. Vincent's de Paul Church. And although at one point in his career here, I will get Father Girollo to admit that he did like me as a teacher, even if it's just this much. I'm so thankful he was inspired to become a priest and to find his vocation. And so I'm over it, kind of, for the moment.
Good enough. Is there anything specific that you learned from Father Gary that you'd like to mention? Anything that stood out to you about him? Anything that inspired you from him? Anything?
Father Gary, I worked with him for a very long time at St. Vincent's, both at really just at the high school when I was there, but he was also my priest when I went to high school at St. Vincent's. And he just was an inspiring priest. And one of my favorite homilies of his was that for Ash Wednesday. And I just remember really being inspired with his call to serve. And St. Vincent's is, of course, notorious for service and charitable acts, but his homily was always every year, and it was always the same one. Forgive me, Father Gary. But it was always this call and reminder that we are to give of ourselves. And it's something that in the many years I've been alive is a good reminder. How do we give of ourselves as people? Whether we are Catholic or not, how do we serve others in the most virtuous and generous way? And Father Gary has always kind of been that reminder for me every year when Ash Wednesday rolls around and when Lent rolls around. How do we serve other people, and how can we carry that on throughout the year?
So now that you're here with us at Cardinal Newman, can you tell us, what does a typical day look like for you as director of campus ministry?
Oh my goodness. I wish that I could say that every day is the same, but no 2 days at Cardinal Newman are ever the same. But that's what the blessing of my life at Cardinal Newman is. No 2 days are ever the same, but I do teach every day. I teach the junior morality classes. I have 2 periods of junior morality. Shout out to 3rd and 6th period. But every day is a little bit different. There could be a class level mass. There could be a school-wide mass. There could be a feast day that we're celebrating. We have the Feast of St. John Henry Newman coming up, so we're going to have some spirit days. We're going to have also some dress-up days, and there's just all these different things. We're going to be inviting parents on campus. We might have a student in here who needs some spiritual counseling. We might have a student in here who's doing homework. We might have a student in here who's having a great day and wants to share a joy. And so every day there's something different going on in this office. And every day I just feel privileged to be a part of it.
Of all those different somethings, is there one specific something or an event that you think is your favorite? It could be something that campus ministry does or something that just goes on campus.
Oh, that's really tough. Last year, I would say Well, first, I would answer that anything where students are involved is my favorite because that's why I became a teacher, is to be around students. So whether it's a volleyball game, whether it's an art show, whether it's a music show, anywhere that students are showcasing the very best versions of themselves is where my heart is most happy. In regards to campus ministry, I feel like in the couple of years I've been here, we've really grown to do events that are quite beautiful. And I believe the Feast of St. John Henry Newman last year was an event that I am so proud of our group, because the mass was gorgeous. And I believe then we had the wiffle ball game and honoring Coach Benedetti and honoring our school's 60th birthday. I think there were so many nuances on that day that just were so gorgeous and so much a part of who we are as a community, that I just felt so proud of campus ministry for honoring our school in such a beautiful way. And I felt like the whole community came together in this really collaborative, beautiful way.
So now that you've talked a little bit about the campus ministry program, can you tell us how students can get more involved beyond just attending mass or retreats?
Yeah, so I think, campus ministry, a lot of people, you know, assume that it's just, okay, you can plan a mass or read at mass. And I think there are so many different opportunities to be involved in your faith at Cardinal Newman, right? So this year there's a lot of different opportunities. So there's campus ministry, and I think there is this notion that you have to be Catholic to be in campus ministry, which is not true. We really are kind of this all are welcome. We want everyone to feel welcome to be able to participate in our program. And then there is something called Sacred Steps, which Isa and Jackson are planning, and that is hiking and prayer, which will be starting next week, during advisory, I believe. And so we're really excited about that. And then we have also a women's and men's prayer group that's starting. And so that's also another group that we've really been working on. And so there's all these different groups that are kind of spreading because of campus ministry. And so we are really kind of encouraging campus ministry to be this expansive, web of faith on campus so that it can be integrated towards everyone. And so there's so many different opportunities. So I encourage students and faculty and parents to reach out to myself or to anyone on campus ministry to ask how they can get involved.
All right, kind of changing direction a little bit here.
Sure.
Did you ever consider becoming a nun when you were younger, or did you always know that you wanted to be associated with children and helping people, or something else perhaps?
I get asked this question all the time, which I think is really funny. My mom always thought I was going to be a nun. And my great aunt, Sister Clara, was a Dominican nun. And so I feel very lucky that I have a lot of rosaries and hand-me-downs from her that I get to keep, very close to my heart from her. There is always a part of me that wonders what life as a nun would be like, because there is a part of my heart that can feel that. But I always knew I wanted to have children. I always knew part of my vocation and calling was to have children, and I have been blessed to have 3 children. And my sons are a huge part of my life, and also all of the children I've taught for 23 years. And of course, I could have been a nun and taught as well, but having my sons has been the biggest blessing of my life. And being a nun, I would not have had that same opportunity. So I believe God has placed me where I was meant to be. And so, yes, there might have been that thought, but the call to motherhood, that vocation was stronger.
So have you always wanted to work with students?
Absolutely. So this is my 23rd year teaching, and there has never been ever a doubt in my mind that this is not where I wanted to be. I did have an interlude where I taught at an elementary school for a couple of years, and I learned that littler kids were not my total cup of tea. but that was also a good challenge to kind of see, teaching religion. I taught sixth grade. I taught math.
Did you teach some science in there?
I did. Oh goodness, I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up. I did teach some science. It was questionable. I'm sorry, Mr. Argenti, and all the science teachers of the world. I did teach some science. I'm sorry to those children. But I did teach them science, yes. But really, it was a good challenge and it was interesting. I just really always in my heart had this passion for teaching high school and being around high school kids. And so I missed it, and that was my call then. I really the call to Newman, and I'm so thankful to be here.
So to follow up with that, what would you say is the most rewarding part about working with students?
Oh goodness. I think most days there are too many rewards to count. Oh, I saw that skeptical face. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some days there are
difficulties.
I think any teacher sitting in this seat would be lying if they said there weren't challenges on a regular basis working with kids. But I think most teachers sitting in this seat would say that every day they get up looking forward to some aspect of working with kids. And I would say this year, especially for me, I thank God every day that I get to come to school and work with all of you. And you guys bring me a lot of joy to my heart. Our theme last year was Heart Speaks to Heart. And as some of you guys know, I recently lost my father. And so I think the way a lot of you students have been speaking to my heart is just your smiles on your face. And when I haven't really been feeling my smile or my heart, walking through the door every day has been your way of bringing me joy. And I think students underestimate sometimes how much joy they can bring to their teachers, whether it's a passionate essay, whether it is a correct answer on a science test, whether it is a nicely worded response in religion class when they got the right answer because they finally realized that aha moment in morality. There's a lot of joy to be had within the confines of a high school classroom. And so there are some days I want to pull my hair out, don't get me wrong, but this is not a job where I wake up and say, ugh, I have to go to work. It's a job where I'm very thankful I get to come here.
So there's a lot of retreats that go on campus,
Yeah.
For every year, every class, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. For those of you who didn't know, those were the classes in high school. And I know you're really involved in organizing the retreats and the events at these retreats. So in your personal opinion, what do you think is one of your favorites of those events?
Whether it is freshman retreat or senior retreat, I can pretty much guarantee that I'll find two people talking who have not really ever had a deep conversation before. And that usually can only happen at a retreat. And I love that. I love that there can be an opportunity away from campus, that a conversation can be forged where two people can interact that might not ever interact because of sports, because of music, because of dance, because of academics. Retreat offers a unique opportunity for two people to have a conversation that might not ever speak. And so that's the favorite part that I will share. And it also gives an opportunity for faculty to come together in a way with students that they might not ever have an opportunity to be with them.
So now we're gonna kind of switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
If you could invite 3 people, dead or alive, to a dinner party, who would they be and why?
3 people, dead or alive, to
excluding
a dinner.
Jesus.
Oh man. Okay. Well, of course, now that I've mentioned my dad, I think my dad would be number one because I miss him and I'm ready to see him already. And I would ask him to bring chocolate chip cookies because those are his specialty. And I'm really missing those already. So my dad. And then number two, oh, this is tough. Come back to me on that one. Come back to me. Let me think. Give me a moment.
We'll ease up. We'll ease up on this.
Ease up on the questions. They're
We'll
grilling
give you
me.
a real easy one here.
Okay, an easy one.
Pineapple on pizza.
Pineapple on pizza is an absolute yes.
No. I think
yes.
Bonnie and I agreed that that's a no.
Well, pineapple on pizza is a yes. This could be a school poll to see who agrees with Miss Rodnick. Pineapple on pizza is a
We'll post
yes.
a poll.
Post a poll. Yes. Next question. I'm still thinking of the 3 people to dinner.
I have a bit of an easier question.
Okay, I'm ready.
If you had to pick one saint to be your best friend, who would it be?
Easy, and if you had me for religion, you would absolutely know the answer 100%. It would be Mother Teresa, also known as Saint Teresa of Calcutta. She would be my BFF. She would want to hang out with me, vice versa. She is
I like this one. What inspired you to choose this year's theme, Lead Kindly Light? Mm-hmm. And how do you hope that it's going to impact Newman's community?
Well, I'm really looking forward to doing its official launch during the Feast of St. John Henry Newman Week. But Lead Kindly Light was inspired by Mr. Argenti and Mr. Erickson, and also Jane last year from Campus Ministry. What inspired me was last year during one of our rallies, Jane led prayer with the Lead Kindly Light prayer in front of a rally. And as she said it, a good majority of the student body joined her in prayer. And to hear almost all of the Cardinal Newman community sing Lead Kindly Light just brought warmth to my heart. To hear a community share a prayer together that almost everyone knew, who had most likely taken Mr. Argenti and Mr. Erickson, just made me feel light in my heart. And I thought, okay, there's our theme. And I kind of workshopped it with Mr. Argenti, and it just kind of took off from there. And so my hope for the year is that as we launch this theme in a couple of weeks and we get our t-shirts and whatnot, is that the prayer becomes the background of our classrooms and you guys pray it in your classrooms, but also everyone kind of decides how they want to be the light in the world, right? How do you want to be the light in your life, in your homes, in your classrooms, with your friendships, and how do you want to live as St. John Henry Newman did, being the light for all to see. And that comes in the shape of how we speak to people, how we act physically towards people, how we act morally towards people. And Mr. Argenti, as my office mate, really lives in that kind of theme, but also all the faculty on campus and a lot of our students do. And so I think, how do we emulate Lead Kindly Light in this way that we are all living in the light? And so it's a theme that I think is really important, especially following Cor Ad Cor Loquitur, heart speaks to heart. I think heart and light absolutely speak to one another.
So to close this out, have you come up with an answer to the question?
I have. And I suppose it's a little bit selfish and very family oriented. And again, it comes down to me, a current loss, but it would be, I would choose to excuse myself from the table, and I would have it be my mom and my dad and my older sons, who were the closest to my dad, so that they would have some time to be with him again.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Rodnick.
Where's my would you rather, Father? Can you ask that seriously?
So to close out, we have a would you rather for Mrs. Rodnick. So Mrs. Rodnick, would you rather be followed by a duck everywhere or randomly quack once every hour?
I would be randomly quacking once every hour.
I find that hard to believe.
I would rather be followed by a duck everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be cute. You can keep him as a pet.
I
And like
would.
untrained duck, he's following you around everywhere. That's like a pet. No training.
Could you imagine we would have a cute little mascot duck that follows Miss Rodnick everywhere?
He could be the campus ministry duck. We're gonna get a campus ministry duck.
Oh, I don't think we need to go that far. This is an imaginary question.
This has been episode 2 of Ministry Mike. Thank you for joining us. That's all, folks.
God bless you. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us. Quack.